Canada, eh?
We're starting to see the fire that we're headed to on that far hillside over there. There's burn, but we still have about an hour drive up this dirt road before we get to our spot. This fire is over 100,000 hectares.
I gotta check some.
Big timbers. I'm gonna hop out quickly. Let's take a quick look. Look at some of these trees. See any morels? A little dry, but not too bad. It's not dust. We've arrived at our destination, Singing Lands Ranch.
This is amazing, guys. Thanks for letting me.
Howdy. Welcome to Morels 2022. This is the center of the universe. It's called Singing Lands. And some people can hear the land sing to you. I unfortunately don't. But I do recognize the beauty of these rolling, grassy, tree-covered ravines, rolling, grassy hills. It's just beautiful up here. This is high elevation, and it's just a whole nother world outside of Kamloops that unless you came here, you wouldn't believe it could be like this. Anyways, enjoy our season as we bring to you Morels like crazy in a beautiful environment of British Columbia, Canada, eh?
Well, we're just planning out where we're gonna do our camp this year. And there's this whole dugout area. And there's high winds through here, so we want to be careful with our fire so we don't burn what's left. So we're thinking we'll use this little embankment, sort of like we've done here, but we'll move it over and we'll dig into here, we're thinking, and sort of inlay the whole fire into the rock and make our normal campfire. And then do our whole dish washing thing here and cover over this dugout with an A-frame. And then over here we might do our pop-up sunshade tied into our Quonset. And at the back of the Quonset tent there can be our mushroom dryer in this sort of area and room for racks out in the field here with still enough space to drive around. Then we'll get lots of sunlight and airflow through here for drying mushrooms. Hey? Yeah, that's muddy. Oh, that's close. I think 4 years ago we picked a fire that was just that way, maybe 10 kilometers. And we were there for, I want to say, a month and a half. That fire was called Elephant Hill. It was quite a good year, but the restriction over there was that the whole fire was down in this huge valley system, and it was a dry year, so the mushrooms seemed to follow where there was active streams running. The slope of the hill was creating a situation where it would just get too dry between all the streams. Water wouldn't pool. And this year the fire is up in these rolling hills, so it's sad that it burned because it's so beautiful, but in terms of morel picking, it's pretty ideal. Lots of small ponds and lakes and rolling hills, and you're not worrying about dry ground and fast drainage. So far so good. It looks really nice. I want to give you a window into a morel harvester's eyes, what we see when we look at this. Got nice sized roots, lots of organic material in the soil, and then all of it is covered in fire cup fungus. It's everywhere. And that's a really good indicator, as well as this moss means that there's a good amount of moisture in the ground. Fireweed, and you can see when you in there, that's nice and damp. If it was dry, it would just be dust. So
This year the weather is really favorable to this kind of morel ground.
So at this point, everything's looking to be in our favor. Looks like it could be pretty good in a week or two. We've got all the needles, dappled sunlight, little pockets where moisture can gather, and we've certainly done well in ground that looks identical to this before. So we just hopped in the bush right over there, and within just a couple of minutes we found these. We're pretty happy about that. There's moss and fireweed starting, liverwort, and those are all signs of moisture. And then over here, most of these areas, it is just full of fire cups. This is one of our indicators that morels are close. And sure enough, those were just starting. Pretty happy about that, and I think this should be a good season. Fingers crossed. Guide us to the patch. Okay, we're gonna go have a little look around the property at some larger forest and see where things are at. What do you say?
A few morels coming in. The boys are finding morels.
Over this way there's a nice big pond. There's lots of water in this area. All right, I'm down by this little lake. I'm gonna come back here in a week because this spot here is probably gonna be loaded with mushrooms. It looks really nice. So I'll come right back to here and check in about a week. There's everywhere fire cups, which is a great sign.
Oh, look at that, eh?
And at night, that whole ridge illuminates. Yeah, the sunset.
Next, the sun's gonna come down this way.
Like here, the root burnt out and left a big hollow. Sometimes you'll find morels in these hollows. Look at this view of the burn. That's all burn. And then that's where we came from, on the rolling hills. Now we're in the thick of it here. Across this ravine, we're headed towards a big waterfall. This is really cool. There's areas where the ice has cracked the duff and ash and formed this pattern where the moss is growing through all the cracks. It's probably really dry and then an ice cracked it, or it dried up and then the water could get through when it rained again. It gathered in those cracks. Pretty cool. Look at that.
It's all spread to everything here. Yeah, look.
Nice canyon here. You do not want to go down there. Deadman Falls.
Now,
Got a black bear running towards the falls in the distance. He's just going up the hill over there.
he's leaving.
Right up there.
He's leaving.
There he goes.
Out of sight.
He didn't seem interested in us. That's good. But still, they're around. So we got to keep the bear spray, bear banger, whistle, and try to stay in pairs. Now it's starting to pour rain. There's an old bottle. What's that one there? R and Co.
54.
54. Blue glass, cork bottle. That's an old one. Okay, we're making our way out of the burn now. Back onto the beautiful grassy hills. Let's take a look at this tree here. This was a juniper tree. And all of its branches were growing down on the ground here. Just totally went up in flame. Look at that. I'm gonna make my way to the top of this nice green hill and have a picnic. Have a seat. So we've done our first little walk around. The ground looks pretty good in most spots. It's a beautiful area. I've seen one bear. You can tell that the mushrooms are still at least a few days, if not a week, away before we really start seeing babies coming up everywhere. Let's go take a look at that. They're just glowing. So they're very active here. Look at this. Amazing. Oh, grouse. It's always the grouse that takes off within 2 feet of you and scares the crap out of you. All right, we've discovered some morels. Look at this. Not bad. Not bad at all. All right, morning of day 3. Hopefully we'll start setting up camp today. It's about 7 in the morning. And we got coffee going. Coffee in the morning.
How you doing, eh?
Well, as is tradition, it's snowing. May the 17th, and it's snowing. Not too hard though. Just a light snow. Well, this explains why the mushrooms aren't here yet. Still too cold. How do you like the weather?
Beauty. We can take it all. Hot, cold, freezing, cooking.
Here we are 10 minutes later and now it's bright and sunny. Look at that. Beautiful sunny day. And just 10 minutes ago it was snowing. And this is Jake.
Cheers to the sun, guys.
And we'll go find Randy making some breakfast. Welcome to Randy's cookhouse.
Making a frittata.
Yum. And you'll wake up to the lovely view of a burnt airplane hangar. Look at this, it's horrible.
I think I want to be closer.
Caught on fire and dripped rubber all down this. Crank it up, eh?
Crank it.
Anybody want a cup of coffee?
Beauty, eh? There's probably some still there to be warmed up. Fire hardened singed wood.
About 4 years ago, we picked a fire in this area, and the local native bands provided us outhouses and garbage pickup for a very reasonable fee. And so here we've got a nice sign they've put up: "Welcome mushroom campers." So we'll get our permit for this little section we're in here, and they'll provide us with porta potties and recycling. How awesome is that? So we're just cruising on the logging roads and come up with just a little bit in elevation, and we just saw snow on the ground, and it's currently snowing right now, actually. Yep, it's snowing.
So much rock in this stuff.
Yeah, for sure. So we're gonna start assembling our camp. And first up is setting up the big Quonset. It's gonna go right here. Birch bark. Paper full of sap. We're on our way here to go scavenge some materials, and we came across some burn with some really active fire cups. So for us, they're an indicator for morels, because they usually grow just before morels come up and overlap. But mainly it's just that where you find them, that area is favorable for mushrooms in general. There's enough water. It's not just pure sand. If there's mushrooms there right now, then there's a good chance there'll be morels later. The unfortunate effects of a wildfire. I used this building here 4 years ago as an outdoor kitchen. We're just looking for some pieces of rebar for staking down our structures so we don't have to use trees. The kitchen. We were told we can still get water up here, so let's see. Yup. Beautiful. Well, that's a plus. That survived.
Yep, not the longest. A few long ones.